Electricity is the flow of electrons through a conductive medium. So, how does electricity work? There are several ways by which we are able to produce an electrical current. There's static generation of electricity, there's magnetic generation of electricity, there's chemical generation of electricity, there's photonic generation of electricity, and there's compression generation of electricity. There may be hybrid versions of these specific categories, but it is my belief that these categories outline the most fundamental methodology behind which electrical current is produced by humanity. I say this to outline the most basic and most fundamental production of electricity to arrive at the most fundamental and most basic understanding of what electricity is and how it is applied to human industry. Electricity shares a relationship with magnetism, which both are naturally occurring phenomena in nature and having an existence which is not limited to human synthesis, for lack of better terms. With that being said, the fundamental nature or the fundamental inherence that electricity has as a naturally occurring property of existence is what I am attempting to outline, and that is most fundamental and most basic because applied science has shown a relationship between electricity and magnetism. I propose that the most fundamental basic understanding of electricity is that electricity is the result of the movement of free electrons within a conductor. Likewise, magnetism is the result of an ordered movement of bound electrons around atomic nucleus and conductors. So to elaborate on that, there are two fundamental categories of matter when we are talking about electricity: conductors and insulators. Somewhere in the middle of these two are semiconductors, materials which possess the ability to both resist and conduct electrical current. There are no true absolute conductors and there are no true absolute insulators. The ability to allow a electron to travel through a material is inherent in all materials, as all matter is comprised of atomic nuclei, and all atomic nuclei have a nature which is subject to having protons and neutrons in their atomic nucleus orbited by electrons. Every element on the periodic table has an existence which must be defined as stable by having a x number of protons orbited by an equal number of electrons. It is this imbalance between protons and electrons that allows us to generate electricity. We exploit this nature of matter to produce electricity. To do this, we take the electron and we move it away from the atom. The electron has a nature where it wants to move back into orbit around the atom, and it is this nature from moving from where it is to back in orbit around the atom that we describe as electricity. When you have a group of atoms bound together to form an element or a chemical substance, the electrons in orbit around these atoms are not ordered. We can look at order as the difference between an aggregate of material versus a crystalline structure, where a crystalline structure has atoms that have orientations that if we say that an atom has symmetry, then we can say that the arrangement of atoms within a compound can have an alignment with it, which is ordered by giving the atoms an orientation of up, down, left, right, front, and back. And in a normal aggregate, we can say that the up, down, left, right, and front and back orientations of materials is random, whereas the up, down, left, right, front, and back orientations of chemicals, of compounds of crystals, is organized so that all of the ups, all of the downs, all of the lefts, and all of the rights are ordered in such a way that they are in a pattern that is repeatable and recognizable if one was to view the material. With this understanding, we can also say that the orbits and patterns followed by the electron are themselves ordered as well, so that the path that the electrons move around the atomic nucleus for each atom, for each electron in each orbit, follow a pattern which creates an oscillation within the electrical field of the atom, of the element, that generates the magnetic field, for lack of a better explanation. We can draw this conclusion from wrapping a coil wire around a magnetic material. We can show that because electricity flows in a certain direction, that the coil changes the orientation of the fields within the material, and thus we describe magnetism. All of the electrons within the material become ordered with the relationship of the coil. The electricity flowing through the coil of wire has an order because it has a direction. That direction causes all of the electrons within the metal to orientate themselves with the flow of electricity. And in that way, we would describe magnetism. So we can say that the ordering of electrons within a magnetized material is what gives rise to magnetism. With all of that being said, it is clear to see that by moving an electron away from an atom, we describe the electron as a negative charge, and we describe the atom as a positive charge. If we put an insulator between the positive charge atom and the negative charge electron, there is no easy way for the electron and the atoms to come back together. And in doing this, we create a circuit. Now the electron must travel around this insulator to find a path around this insulator to create a stable atom. And it is the nature of the electron and the atom to want to form a stable union that allows us to manifest electricity.